I am super, super great. How are you?
I am well. We're live this morning. We are live. We are live. We are live.
Awesome.
Very, very, very good. So,
How was your
Rebecca,
weekend?
uh, my weekend,
Mm-hmm.
um, well, you were with me. It was pretty enjoyable. I think we had a
Yeah,
pretty good weekend. We got a grandson in the journey with us this weekend. That's been fun.
yeah. What's the matter?
Oliver, there
Here, you
he
want to say
is.
hi to everybody?
There he
Yeah.
is. Say hi to
Hi,
everybody.
everybody.
Hi, hi. Let's say I'm Oliver.
Why are you pouty?
Oh my goodness.
A rough
It's a good,
morning.
well, I think he needs to hear about our subject today, Rebecca. What is our subject?
Our subject is learning to enjoy the journey. That's hot.
No,
Instead of
Well,
stressing over the process, learning to enjoy the journey.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy the journey. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Okay. Well, Rebecca, why this subject today?
Well, a lot of these. I must struggle with a lot of things because this is another one that hits very much home for me.
Mm-hmm.
Resting.
I I uh I see my end goal that I want, and the process to get there stresses me out because I see the end goal that I want, but I think about all it's a bracelet. I think about all of the things that need to be done to get there. And so instead of, looking at it of all of these great things that are going to happen to get there, I stress about um, I got to make sure all of this is done and done correctly to get there. And, even it doesn't even have to be business. It's even house things, even when we have going on vacation. Um, when we're going to do something, knowing that I have to have everything in line and in order, ready to go out the door before we can go and enjoy the vacation.
Mm-hmm. So why do you think that is? Why is that such a struggle for you?
Because I guess it's the perfectionist side. I want everything to go, I know when we planned our one of the first vacations that we took with our kids up to South Dakota. I had planned so much of the touristy stuff because I wanted them to have fun. I wanted them to make sure that they enjoyed the trip and so I planned all this stuff and it was not enjoyable. It was not, you
Oh,
know,
it was enjoyable, but it wasn't enjoyable the way that you thought it
right,
would be.
right.
Where did the kids have the most fun?
At the lake, just
Yeah,
walking around the lake.
which we just happened to run across
Right.
as we were driving up through there. We didn't even plan that. Had no plan at all for that.
Yeah.
And the kids loved climbing the rocks. They loved climbing up on the hills. They had so much fun just enjoying that day at the lake. And they honestly didn't, I mean, that was just a happenstance thing.
Right.
Mhm. Now I
And
think they
instead of
they also had some fun with some of the other things you did, like the place we went where you could stand sideways and everything rolls the wrong direction. That was kind of fun.
it was interesting,
Yeah. But
but
I
it was more of a, are we on schedule? Are we, we're eating now. We're going here now because at the end I wanted to make sure that my end goal was to make sure everybody had a good time. It was scheduled fun.
yeah. Do you ever find that you stress out over the things that you shouldn't stress over and the things that are outside of your control?
A lot.
Why do you think that is? Why, as human beings, do we do that?
I don't know why other people do it. I think mine is that I want to make sure that we're successful. I want to make sure that um that we are doing things the right way, and I know that I focus on that too much, and I miss a lot of the details. I miss a lot of the small things. For me, when I say my perfectionist side, it's almost like a disorganized perfection because I try to make things go perfectly so much that I miss a lot of the small things. And I get so wrapped up in, are we doing everything correctly? Are we saying everything correctly? Am I getting the point across? Are people taking value away from it? That I miss just talking, and I miss just connecting. We've talked about um doing sales calls and going on sales calls, that I worry so much at the end of it. Did I add value to that person, or did I make a sale? And if I didn't, okay, what did I miss? Why didn't I? And I think back to when I ask a question, instead of focusing on their answer, I'm thinking of the next question I want to ask to make sure I get that end goal, but then I miss it because I'm not listening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And
taking joy in that journey, that's what this is about, is joy in the journey, enjoying getting to that, where you want to go and what you want to reach, and enjoying the process.
yeah, one of my favorite business activities is sales. I love selling. I love the concept of going out and meeting somebody I've never met before. I love the idea of connecting with people that are new and fresh and maybe don't know me and I don't know them. And it's just an opportunity to see the world through someone else's eyes and to experience something through someone that I've never met before. And to me, that is part of the joy in the journey. That is part of the opportunity that is before us, right? And I'm going to talk just a little bit here, about how you do find joy in the journey. But for me, that is a big part of it. It's one of the reasons that I love selling, but that has not always been the case. Selling used to really make me nauseously sick. I didn't like it. It scared me to death and made me feel strange. Just I didn't like it. But after I realized that a lot of what I believed about selling was a lie, was absolutely not true, and as I began to realize that there is truth in selling that is positive, that it is good, that's when I began to realize that, man, I can find joy in this. This can actually be something that's pleasurable. This can be something that's good and good for me, and as well as good for all the people that I work with and connect with. And that was the thing that changed a lot for me about selling. Does that make sense? Somebody must have muted because they were listening to noise in the background, I would imagine.
Sorry. Well, even just like this scenario right now, before, when we first started doing this and stuff, I would have been like, oh my gosh, Ollie's making noise, Ollie's in the background, but it's part of life. It is, like I told you this morning, it is what it is. We work through it. He's a good co-host.
He's enjoying the journey.
He is. He enjoys the journey
That he
most of
does.
the time.
Most of the
Most of the
time.
time.
Most of the time, that is for sure. Yeah, he's pretty awesome. Well, Rebecca, let's talk about how we find joy in the journey. Take a couple of minutes here, and then we'll get our audience in to say a few things. But going back to what I was talking about in the sales process, I think any of us could say that there are things in our work, there's things in our life that we don't enjoy, that we don't like, things we have to
Right.
do because it just simply has to be done, and it's not something that we like. And we're all going to have those, and we're going to continue to have those all throughout our life. It's just the way life is. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is, okay, if that's what's going to happen, what do I do with it? What do I do with it? And for me, that was a question I had to answer. I can choose to be bitter or I can choose to be better. And several years ago, I chose to be better. It's really what started my whole personal development journey, my personal, growth journey, because every time that I would do something that I didn't enjoy, I'd get bitter about it and I'd be frustrated, I'd be irritated, and what it did is it just made life miserable, and that was self-inflicted. It wasn't somebody else's fault. It wasn't something else that somebody else was doing. It was my own choice. It was my own doing. And by choosing to find joy in the journey, choosing to look at a situation that maybe I don't enjoy and say, hey, how can I make this better? How can I make this better? How can I make it easier? How can I make it more effective? And I began to change a lot of the things that I did. And wow, did it make a difference? Made a massive difference in things. But that was a choice just in the viewpoint, just in perspective, because we all get to choose how we see things. We all get to choose how we see things. Most of us don't choose well. I didn't for a long time. And it's really been a struggle. Even yet today, there's probably one or two key tasks in business that I just struggle with so hard. And I'm working on how do I make this better? How do I make this better? And it's one of those things I'll probably continue my whole life asking myself, how do I make it better? Not bitter. Does that make
Well,
sense?
when we look at things like, you know, there's a lot of times that I look at things and think that I have to do this. I have to do this instead of I get to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, there are things, in our everyday life. I hate dusting. I hate dusting. Dusting is my least favorite household job. I don't mind scrubbing toilets over dusting. But if I don't dust, then what happens? It just
Mm-hmm.
builds up and it builds up and it builds up. And so instead of, looking at it and being grateful that I get to dust things that I have, I get to dust, and looking at it in a different perspective. And that sometimes that is difficult for me
Mm-hmm.
because I do not enjoy that part. But there's even in our, starting our business, there's been things that I do not enjoy doing. I'm not comfortable doing, but it's also things that have to be done, um, things that we have to get done to make our business run. And looking at it, like I said, in the aspect of I get to do this instead of I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard to see that.
And when you look at it that way, Rebecca, how has that changed your perspective on things? Because I know you just like me, you looked at things like, oh, I have to do this, and now you look at it as I get to do this. How has that changed your whole mindset, your feelings towards things?
Yes. Yes, you're gonna go home tonight. Um, the thing about it is when I will honestly say when I look at a task and I think I have to do this,
Yep.
that I'm not putting my best foot forward in it. it's one of those things that I just need to get it done, get it over with. And so I can move on to things I enjoy or things I prefer to do.
Yeah.
And so then it's not putting out my best work. I'm not giving it my best all. So then maybe I make something and you critique it and think, well, and then it bugs me. Oh, I've spent all this time, but I know in myself that I have not done the best of my ability because it was begrudging and it was, oh, I got to get this done because I have to. I don't want to, but and that's, I think that's with a lot of things, you know, when I dust, it's not like I take every piece down and take a cloth and soapy water and wipe everything like it should. No, I'll take a feather duster and go over it and just rescatter the dust onto something else. But if I were to do it the way that it should be done, it would make a huge difference later on. And it's one of those things, you know, you put it off, you put it off, you put it off doing it the correct way until eventually you've done one of two things. You have wasted so much time instead of doing it right the first time, or you're just frustrating yourself more every time you do it. But like I said, it's the perspective that you look at it. I get to do this or I have to do this. And I think if you're telling yourself you have to do something, you're not putting all of your talent and gifts into that. Even if it's not your talented and gifted area.
Yeah. Yeah. We do a lot with Working Genius. And with Working Genius, it's an idea of where is your working strength, right? And we all have to do things that are outside of our strength zone. It really is. But nonetheless, we still have to do them. And at the end of the day, you get to choose your perspective on how you do them. And that's a huge and very, very important part. Let's open it up to our Zoom attendees, see what they would like to share with us today. Who on Zoom would like to share a perspective with us? See who is there. I know we're missing one of our regulars today. He's in Australia.
I'm not even sure what time it is over there.
I don't know either for sure. Everybody's pretty quiet this morning, probably sitting back enjoying the rain. Or maybe some of them didn't get rain. We got nice rain, beautiful rain. Beautiful rain. Not too much, not too little. Just right. Okay. Well, kind of quiet on that end. I'm going to just share some thoughts on finding joy in the journey. And the things that I have found, like I mentioned earlier, mindset, the way you think about it when you go into it. Rebecca, we could even use your dusting example, right? And the thing about finding joy in the journey, if you're going to dust and you're going to, pick up things and you're going to look at things and you're going to walk through things, just imagine if you were walking through the memory of those things. Just imagine if you're walking through, why you have that sitting on your shelf in the first place. Walking through the memory of that item, walking through the memory of it, and being able to say, hey, this is really awesome. This is where this came from. This is what it means to me. This is why it's important to me. This is why it's here. This is why I'm dusting this. It's here because I, liked this. I enjoyed this. This was part of my journey. And you find ways by choice to find the value in those things. And you just choose. This, people don't understand that so much of this comes down to our own personal choices. And we can choose to see things in a different perspective. That, I think, is more than anything number one. Number two, thing that I think about when I think about the joy in the journey, for me, growth is very powerful. And I'm thinking all the time about how can I learn this? How can I do something here that's very positive? And as a result, I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow towards something. I'm going to grow into something. I'm growing upwards and forward at the same time. And I'm asking myself through the process, how am I growing? How am I growing? Because that's all part of this journey of life. You know, the one thing that we all get is physical growth. You know, you look at Ollie this morning, he's running around, he's just a little boy, he's growing up so much physically. But we all hit a space where we cap out physically. We're not going to get any taller, right? We can get bigger. I'm evidence of that. We can get bigger, we can get taller to a certain point, and then we're all going to cap out. And the thing about that, that's set in life. That's just part of this journey, also. But when it comes to our improvement intellectually, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all other aspects of life outside of the physical realm, every other aspect of life, we can continue in growth. I don't know if people realize that, but every aspect of life, we can continue in growth. And that is one of the things that I absolutely love the most about the joy and the journey. I can grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally, intellectually. There's no limit on any of those capacities. And for me, that brings amazing joy to me because I'm always wondering, how far can I go? I'm always wondering, what's next? I'm always asking the question of, who could I become in this journey of life? And for me, that's priceless. Knowing that physically is my only limiting factor. Physicality is my only limiting factor. Every other realm of life has no cap on it. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but it is absolutely priceless when it comes to the journey of life. And for
Well,
me, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you look at the things, even doing the things that we don't care to do, how much knowledge that we're getting.
Mhm.
When I get stuck on something in Kajabi and I have to go through Kajabi University, well, I've learned something. I've learned how to do something.
Mhm.
And so I think that is such a big thing. It's such a, hold on. It's such a big thing that when somebody else, it's, sorry,
He's part of the joy and the journey.
but
That's what he
learning
is.
that, then the next person that maybe comes in and does it, or somebody has a question, it's something we may not like it, but we are able to help the next person through. That may not be, like I said, that may not be something that we enjoy doing, but it is something that we have to do. And how we focus our time on it and our energy on it is, as you said, it's a choice,
It's
but
something
it's
that we get
constant.
to do, as
Yeah,
you
it's a
just said.
constant growth arm too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And that's way one of the things that we talk about, the finding the joy in the journey. I'm always thinking, and again, so much of this goes back to the way that I think and the way that I've chosen to think, is it's one of the reasons that I love selling so much of the time. Confidence. The thing that I've learned in this whole process is the amount of confidence that I'm able to build in my own life as I'm going through this journey by stepping out, making choices to see things differently. confidence is a result of taking action on things that scare me, taking action on things that are maybe not the most fun, but will bring the biggest result. And that's when I really began to realize, as I looked at this whole journey of life, that my choices are through the process of growth. My choices are really number one. And for me, an outcome, that confidence element, was absolutely priceless. Today, I don't have a problem talking to anybody anywhere at any given time. I don't care who you are. I don't care what country you come from. I don't care, you know, where you are in life. It doesn't matter to me. And, 20 years ago, I couldn't do that. But by choice, finding joy in the journey and finding that value in each one of these steps, that's how I built that confidence. And I chose it. I chose it. And it's one of those things that has made a world of difference in my life over the last several years. So I think confidence is one. Competence is another one that you'll get out of that.
Well,
So
it's, like we've said, it is a huge growth thing. And depending on how we look at it, if we look at it begrudgingly,
mhm.
you probably are not going to grow through it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's why when I see things that are big, when I see opportunity, a lot of people will look at opportunity and see the work that goes along with it. They'll see the fear elements that go along with it. People look at opportunity and they think about the struggle that goes with it, and then they'll just push it aside. It gets pushed to the back burner. It gets put on the back mindset. It gets pushed to the back of mind, right? When some of their greatest opportunities are being missed because it's literally just right in front of them. And because we're finding the fear factors, we're finding the negative elements instead of the joys in those journeys. And to me, that was one of the things that I had to personally face several years ago is, am I going to capture the opportunity while it's here? Am I going to capture the opportunity while it's hot, while the potential is big? Am I going to capture the opportunity, or am I going to let fear and doubt, frustrations, and all the negative vibrations, am I going to let those things rule my life? Or am I going to embrace the opportunity in this journey? And that was a huge, huge decision maker for me. See, one of the struggles that I had for many, many years is I don't have a college degree. And I always, always, always believed, because of my grandmother, who told me that I wouldn't amount to anything if I didn't go to college. And I struggled so bad with school and I enjoyed working so much that it became almost ingrained in me that if I didn't go to college, I was basically a nobody. And there's nothing further from the truth. That is such a lie. Absolutely the biggest lie I've ever heard, actually, because everybody has value. Everybody has value. And education comes in many different forms. It doesn't just come from college. Education comes in multiple different ways. And that also was joy in the journey for me when I began to realize, look, I can still be awesome. I can still be amazing. I can still be good. I can build great opportunities and grow great things, even though I don't have that degree. That changed my world. And it brought so much joy to my journey when historically I was stuck on that. I couldn't move. I couldn't move. And it brought frustration. And that was one of the things that really, really, really changed for me. So a big difference in my life.
Yep.
Well, Rebecca, we're right down towards the end of it. I think this is a topic that I could go on and on and on with because this is so important, I think, for people. If you're going to have a joy-filled life, you have to understand the choices that you make. You have to understand the decisions that you take in the walks of life. And indecision is a decision too. If people say, "Oh, I'll decide on that later. I'll do that later. I'll push that back later. I won't take that risk right now." Indecision is a decision, and it's a bad one. Well, Oliver, I think we're about to wrap up and
Hey,
call it a
wait.
day. Do you want to
You
tell
tell everybody
everybody?
bye?
You want to tell
Bye.
everybody bye? There you go.
Later.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Our grandkids bring us joy in the journey. That is awesome. That is awesome. All right, my
All
friends,
right.
Rebecca, thank you for this topic. One last little thing for Rebecca. I'm going to put it in here. You have another mastermind, right?
Coming up starting July 9th.
July
So-
9th, and the subject is
Developing the Leader Within 2.0.
Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. I highly recommend make an investment in yourself. Invest in yourself, join this mastermind. You will not be sorry. There's no possible way you can leave this Developing the Leader Within You 2.0, the updated version. There's no way you'll ever leave this less than when you came in. No possible way if you participate at all. Even if you just participate in one event, just one evening, you will grow substantially if you do the work on here. Get to work inside so you can grow your outside. Develop the Leader Within You 2.0, July 9th. And what time is it? Are you doing it in the evenings?
7 p.m. It'll be
7
an 8-week course.
7 p.m., an 8-week course. And if you can't make every course, you can't make every evening, it will be recorded and sent
Yep.
out, correct, Rebecca?
Yep. There will be,
Absolutely.
yes.
So join it, become part of it, engage in it, make this part of your journey, because the more you grow you, the more you can grow your life outside of you. You cannot grow outside of you until you grow inside of you. And that's the absolute truth of life. So join Rebecca's mastermind. She can send out the link and get it to everybody, and invite all your teammates, invite everybody in your organization to come in and be a part of this with you. All right.
Ollie.
Okay. God bless everyone. Make it amazing. We will see you here next week.
Bye.